Alexander Lukashenko used to be called Europe's last dictator, until Vladimir Putin returned to the club. How has he held on to power? Has his position changed with the prevailing wind? And what does the immediate future hold? Is he preparing a new Lukashenko dynasty? Join me, Jan Darasz, for How We Got Here.
Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, often dubbed the last dictator in Europe, celebrated his 70th birthday on August 30th, 2024. Known for his authoritarian rule and controversial statements, Lukashenko's three-decade tenure has been marked by allegations of human rights abuses and political oppression, particularly following the disputed 2020 presidential elections. One of his most infamous remarks, "It's better to be dictator than gay," was directed at former German Foreign Minister Guido Westerwelle in 2012. This statement, among others, has defined Lukashenko's regime, drawing both humor and bafflement from observers. Despite his contentious leadership, Lukashenko has maintained that his regime does not hinder development, asserting that Belarus is a crucial partner for Western Europe in combating illegal migration, drug trafficking and nuclear proliferation. To celebrate his birthday, Russian President Vladimir Putin awarded Belarusian President with the Order of Saint Andrew the Apostle, the first called. The award, Russia's highest state order, was given, quote, "in recognition of Lukashenko's exceptional merits that contribute to the prosperity, greatness and glory of Russia." Despite this high honor, Putin has yet to fulfill a previous promise to make Lukashenko a colonel in the Russian army, a point of curiosity noted by the Belarusian leader in 2022.
Our guest today is Dimitri Bonet, a political scientist based here in Warsaw. Welcome once more to the programme.
Good evening, good afternoon.
Yes. Good evening, good afternoon. Okay. It's one and the same thing. President Alexander Lukashenko, 30 years in power, celebrated recently, from his point of view, celebration. Who would be celebrating that 30 years in power? The president himself, family, his power base? What would you say then?
I think it's important, probably date for Lukashenko personally, for his family. But I think it's a tragedy for Belarusian society because for that period, Belarus is stay in past, in Soviet past, because Lukashenko is a person who became in power 30 years ago. It was a very difficult period for Belarus. It became period for independence. First years from Belarus became independent state, and Lukashenko was a person who was thinking about past, about Soviet past. He was elected by the generation who was born at the beginning of last century, who was born period before war, Second World War. These persons, this generation was persons who nostalgia about Soviet period. And Lukashenko, during period of his campaign 30 years ago, sent many messages for society that he wanted to restart Soviet period. And among Soviet leaders in Belarusian history, one of the popularity person was Petr Masharov, and Lukashenko also copied his image on his policy. Masharov was a leader of Belarusian Soviet Republic during 15 years. He was died in a catastrophe, auto catastrophe, and now using some opinion polls, Masharov is more popular in Belarusian history 20th century period than even Lukashenko and another persons.
Is that a general human thing that we tend to have a nostalgia about the past?
Yes.
You mentioned that the Soviet period
yes.
is recognized as a nostalgic time of golden era.
Yes, I think that period from the last 30 years in some history was changes, and the generation who was born in past was died, and some changes in generation. And now people who now living in Belarus is not nostalgia on Soviet period, but they I think the events or some protests that was in Belarus 4 years ago on last president elections, it shows that people want changes, and Lukashenko don't want changes. He wanted to continue to stay in power because he's afraid of his future of his family, and I think his power is very difficult period for Belarus. When I analyze what happened in Belarusian economy, now Belarus is number 4 from bottom among European countries on GDP per capita. It's one of the lowest in Europe, and it's also shows that Lukashenko is not a person who creates something new for Belarus economy, and he just using all potential that was created in Belarus during Soviet period. All plants, all factories was built during Soviet period. Lukashenko using these plants and factories and sells this project to Russian market firstly. And Putin, and not only Putin, Yeltsin or Kremlin, they help all time for Belarus, for Lukashenko personally, because using Russian money, Lukashenko so long in power.
Yes. Has Lukashenko wasted the richness of Belarus, or the industry of Belarus, or was there not enough there to start with? You seem to suggest that he's not a very astute politician in terms of the economic aspect. So what's he done to demoralize, to devalue the Belarusian economy?
So I think Lukashenko is a person who not care about economy, because he thinking about not about market economy. He wanna and do it like Marxism-Leninism economy. His planning economy, because he was one of the propagandists who was a teacher during Soviet period, like propaganda Soviet values, etc. And I think he person who thinking in the past. That is why Belarus not a so-called market economy, that there are no some market values, etc. And that is why in Belarusian industry, many plants and manufacturers in Belarus was closed during a period of Lukashenko. And yes, he supports some agriculture, probably plants or farmers, not farmers like market farmers. I mean, sure. State governments, farmers.
State farmers.
Yeah, and he received a lot of money from Russia, and using this support from Russia, Lukashenko just subsidized these farmers, state farmers, and sell this product to Russian market. That is why some people who live in villages support Lukashenko. Yes. It's real, because he gave them some resources. But persons who live in cities, in towns, they hate him because they haven't a real job, haven't opportunity to find a job. That is why many Belarusians are living in abroad. It was before 2020 in Russia, in West now, and it's continue.
And this brain drain from Belarus, is this the big divide in the country? A conservative, Lukashenko supporting countryside, and a more Western-orientated urban middle class?
Yes, many divided. I think some part of probably persons who work in government sphere, or some teachers, or some other persons who probably support Lukashenko, part of them, who living in countryside, because they just care about how to live, and persons who want to changes, and some of them now afraid of some changes, because after 2020, when a lot of arrests and when continue repression, people afraid to thinking about changes, because it's a big risk will be arrested. And Lukashenko, when he became a president 30 years ago, probably he was not dictator first years, but step by step he closed window for all democratical institutions. He ruined parliament in 1996. Next he became falsificate elections, and close media, kill his opponents in opposition, and continue now the biggest repression in Belarus. It's the biggest in history in Belarus.
How does someone like a young Lukashenko, is starting off in the party, is Soviet, great Soviet past, a golden era of the Soviet past in Belarus, how did he get to where he could become president? Was it just a case of knowing the right people, eliminating rivals, playing the careerist sort of ladder? Is that what you do in a communist society?
Yeah, Lukashenko was a opposition person. He was a oppositioner in a parliament, because he was a person who was against leader of parliament. Leader of parliament was in that period state main person in state, and Lukashenko was young. And he was probably so energy, and he said that people wanna about what people thinking, and sometimes probably on that period there are now a lot of another probably opportunities, and people haven't also. Belarusians on that period haven't any experience in democracy, and he was a populist. Probably then another picture was he never became a president, but sometimes in some society like Belarus, people want a hard hand, like a dictatorship. And now in Belarusian society is the same, because his unofficial name is Batka, or like a father, because some of them want a strong hand, and probably it's also paradox of Soviet or post-Soviet countries, because in market society or open society, it's not possible when
too chaotic.
Yeah, like it's not. We cannot imagine like a president of Poland or chancellor of Germany going to the farmers and tell them how they must to do or something doing in farmers. It's not possible. But Lukashenko do it every day.
You mentioned his nickname of the father of the father of the nation. He's got his son with him all the time. What's the next step for somebody like of Lukashenko's mentality? Can it be that he passes on his son as a successor, or is he going to have, or his opposition opponents in the party, in the government, are they going to start showing their hand? Obviously, he's a very healthy guy. He may still last.
Yeah, I think it's now very difficult period because because now we one step before some transitional period in politics in Belarus, and probably Lukashenko is thinking about his future because he changed some laws in power, and but he had opposition, of course, and never he gave them opportunity to change him. But I believe that he will be organize some steps for a transit political period, probably now, probably also in near future, in next month probably, because in September 2020, Lukashenko was negotiation with Putin, and was some unofficial declarations that Lukashenko will not go to new elections as a president. And now, before new elections, about 3 months to start new elections, presidential elections. And now some marks from Lukashenko show that he just thinking yes or no. Because one hand, he prepare all documents that he must go to retire. On the other hand, some message from him and propaganda media that Lukashenko must be stay. And it will be conflict between also Putin, between also China leader, and also between some probably persons who in around circle of Lukashenko. And also I know that his son Victor, he don't want that Lukashenko go continue like a president.
So he's it's almost like a mafia family.
Yes, but his son is not a person, as I understood. His son is not wanted to become a president. He wanted to just live for himself, yeah, like relax, etc. But his father probably thinking about to give power for somebody from family. Yeah. But I think it's stupid idea when it will be, because all regime like Belarus shows that one person in power never effective then politics changes. Yes. Because it's competitive, it's new ideas, new faces, and also it's some levels to change something.
A man out of his time, perhaps. Dimitri Bonet, thank you very much in the interim for coming on to the programme.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for today. Do join us next time for How We Got Here.